This is life. Listening and inspiring friends in entertainment.
I am stoking the fire and poking the bear.
Focusing life's principles with your goals.
So you're listening to respond as opposed to listening to understand.
And taking empowerment global with empowerment speaker Stone Stafford and Johnny Vaughn.
What's up, friends, family, and fans? It's your boy, Stone Stafford.
That boy wanted to be a wrestler so bad in his other life. He really did. What's going on, man? I'm Johnny Vaughn.
Man, we are coming at y'all respectively from our caves once again. So we
for the foreseeable future.
Yeah. We're figuring this out. Well, my sister, she sent me this this look like a crossword puzzle, you know, with the hidden words.
Yeah.
And it said the first word you see is where you're going in April, and everything said nowhere. It was good. It was good.
That's an instant classic. Yeah.
How are you and the family, man? Is everybody back on the mend? Or?
Yo, everybody's good, bro. We have like Wednesday this week was like the first day that everybody was like up, moving around. We actually went outside for a little bit together as a collective.
Nice.
Aside from the 8 million pollen count, we good.
Hey, I mean, I don't want to talk about it because I hate putting my words on stuff, but it seems I have developed a certain sensitivity to pollen that I never had before.
You have allergies.
In my adult years, I didn't hear that, by the way. So, and I was just thinking about people with allergies. It's like,
it's not fun.
People with allergies can now relate to like brown people or Indians that people act like they're terrorists. Like now, people with allergies, they know how they feel. Because now
everybody just assume you
just cough and sneeze. Everyone's like, yo. But then, you know what I'm saying? You're like, yo, allergies. Like, no, it ain't. No, it ain't no allergy.
Yeah. We were on the walking trail that day, and this dude just started hacking. And I knew it was from pollen because you could see the gold dust floating around, but you could also see like people partying.
Yeah, exactly. You like, you that dude that'll get bit by a zombie and then don't tell nobody.
And not tell nobody. Exactly.
Well, anyway, man. So look, glad to have you back. Glad we're doing this thing.
Yeah.
But so since everyone is cooped up at home, hopefully people are taking advantage of this situation by exploring things that they always wanted to do, didn't really have time to do.
Yeah.
Go back to the last episode, and we talked about that a lot. Specifically, one of the people we want to talk to are musicians in this episode. Even though, you know, LIFE stands for listening, inspiring friends, and entertainment, the E also stands for everywhere and in everything. But we are going to kind of keep it with entertainment this time, although what we talk about can apply to everybody. Music. Do you write music?
Yeah.
If you do. Now, you've heard me say this before, where I always said that people who write music, they hold the hearts of men in their hands, I think. And the reason why is because music truly does make the human part of the world go round. Agree or disagree?
I agree 100%. Yeah.
Absolutely. And the reason why, a lot of times we'll think about the lyrics of it all, because you know how I am. You know, if you want to change your actions, first you got to change your thoughts. You change your thoughts, change what you're listening to and writing and reading and all that kind of stuff. So that's why lyrics are so important in music. Now, we're not going to go down that whole thing about writing about dumb stuff because sometimes there's a place for it. You know, if you had a pool party, you ain't trying to think about, you know, how do I change the world today and all that stuff. I get it. So we're not going to talk about that per se, but we're actually going to get into the actual music part of it. Yeah. All right, we want to give you guys something to think about. I still believe if you are a songwriter and if you are a producer, there is a certain level of accountability that you have because you are wielding a very powerful, I won't call it a weapon, I'll call it a tool. All right, and so we want to talk about a little bit of what exactly you have in that tool. So we're kind of going to get into a little bit of the actual science
of it all.
Yeah, look at that. Your nipples just got hard, didn't they? Gross. But anyway, get into the actual science and the sonic of it all. So what what do you already know about this, Johnny? Because Johnny's one of them people. He literally kind of knows a little bit about.
Well, I mean, on
everything.
this particular subject, a lot.
Okay.
Because when we were first having the conversation, just kind of talking about how different frequencies affect people differently, different tonalities. I'm real big into binaural beats. If people don't know what that is, it's when you play one frequency in one ear, one in another ear, and your brain it matches the differences of those frequencies, and it sinks in on that beat that splits the difference, and you can key in on a bunch of different healing properties.
So it's not a thing where like a male beat likes both male and female beats. Is that? Look, I just got finished watching Tiger King, man. So you're gonna have to reel me back into reality, because that show got me all jacked. My hope for humanity is just gone.
I was gonna watch it tomorrow, so I can't even touch on that with you yet.
We said beats?
Binaural beats.
Binaural. I somehow missed the
binaural beats. Yeah.
Oh, so
but the explanation applies. So I mean, I'm real deep into frequencies and everything. One of the main topics that we were talking about was what the golden ratio frequency, that 432 frequency. That's been a real big aspect of my musical career. I played with the Jacksonville Symphony Youth Orchestra for 10 years when I was growing up. And anybody who knows anything about orchestral music or bands, we tune to 440. And historically,
is that a key? Is that an actual
it's a note. Like 440 is an A. That's the A4 above middle C, I believe. And that's the tone that you tune orchestras and bands to. And nobody really knows why that is. And I mean, it's really just a governmental thing. Like the United States decided to back Italy, because Italy decided to just make this is what every orchestra should tune to, so that all orchestras sound the same, because there wasn't like a mandating before. Like you would go to, if you were in France, you come to the Americas, you went anywhere else, all orchestras sounded different.
Gotcha.
But the differences in those frequencies is like 440, because it's what I'm used to. I've tuned to it my whole life.
Okay.
Once I was introduced to 432, I was able to really tell that there truly is a difference in that. Those 8 cents of that ratcheted up tone, it feels like things are wound up a little bit. It feels a little tighter.
Okay.
And I started actually becoming, a proponent of supporting music being tuned to 432, because it feels like it's settled more. When you talk about it in the phi ratio, the golden ratio, like it's what they call it, the earth frequency.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna say the 432. They say that's supposed to be mathematically actually proven to be the most in tune with the body's natural vibration.
There you go. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And when let's talk about that, about the vibration, then I want you to continue, because we need to break certain things down. For those who may not know, because we don't want to assume, right? We don't want to assume. When we talk about hertz, obviously that's basically a unit of measure, and it measures vibrations per second.
Right.
So if you know what a pitchfork is, or a tuning fork, you ever hear anybody, they'll hit it, and it depending on how many times that tuning fork vibrates, it will emit a tone, and that tone will be whatever key that we're trying to get. So that's what hertz are. That's just a unit of measure of measuring vibrations. Now, so when we talk about 432, math has shown that 432 is the closest to the body's natural vibration. And we talked about this, I think, before, how we're not solid matter. We're actually, and then you said, well, no, it depends. You got all deep on that one. But we did agree with the fact that we are cells, closely clumped together cells that are constantly vibrating. Wrong?
No, absolutely.
Oh, because you had that.
No. I'm agreeing with you.
Right. That's right. You were talking about the space in between. That's what you were talking about. Yeah. So we're walking vibrations, and so when you remember that and you think of that, music is nothing but notes and tones, which means, working backwards, music is nothing but vibrations. And if you are a walking, breathing vibration, then music has everything to do with your very existence. Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. So go ahead and finish what you're talking about if you didn't lose your train of thought.
Oh, that was kind of it. I mean, I was going to kind of deviate into, I don't know if you want to get super spiritual, but people who like study meridians and chakras and all of that stuff, those frequencies actually resonate with every different chakra.
Right.
You don't find, well, actually you do find 432. 432 is, if I remember right, the root chakra. So that's where your foundational is, which is why they say that that's where it vibrates more with the base of your body. And then you hear people talk about that healing frequency, that 528 frequency.
Right.
That one is your solar plexus, that right below where your heart is. They call that the heart frequency. But all of these things, like mathematically, like different parts of your body resonate with frequencies more. And in having those conversations, I was going to kind of dovetail into the whole thing of how it relates to music. Right. You know, we talked about it before, like the key you choose to write your song in plays a huge part in how people respond to it or what your song says.
Absolutely.
And if your song is tuned overall in these different frequencies, it'll resonate overall more so with certain people just from a root level than it would when it's outside of what our natural resonance is.
Yep. And even if you think about stuff, have you ever been around somebody? And with the term that we use is, oh, we're vibing.
Yeah, the vibe. Yeah.
And honestly, we literally, that's where that comes from.
Exactly.
The closer two human beings are to vibrating on similar frequencies, the more connected you feel.
Ladies can speak to this more than we can, because hang out with your girlfriends long enough and certain things start to sync up.
Seriously. I mean, I know back when my day when I used to do my thing, and you know, they used to go and hit that, and they started vibrating. They started vibrating. I'm telling you, I know what I'm talking about. But we talking about music, though. So let's reel it back in. But the music did lead to the moment. So it's all connected.
But that's why, because those songs were tuned to vibrate on that level to get those certain moves moving. That's what
seriously, and that's how you get. So look, here's a little cheat code for y'all, for musicians and producers. You know the thing called the earworm. I forget the scientific name for it, but this is a little cheat code for you. If you actually pay attention and go ahead and go from this podcast and study even deeper into vibrations and stuff and the things that the body tunes to, you can start creating music on purpose that people are drawn to, and that they can create earworms with the melodies and stuff. And then you wonder why people are always drawn to your music. There's a science behind everything. I don't care if it's sports. I don't care if it's music, even his love. There is a science behind everything. So be talented, but also be smart. And that's what we're here to help you do. There's a guy now let's tell us why. Let's kind of break down a little bit, you know, why music is so important and how it actually affects you even beyond the frequency. So there's a professor of school and sports, of sports and education at Brunel University in London. His name is Kostas Karageorgis, or Karageorgis.
You practiced that, didn't you? Yeah.
I had to, because, and I still got it wrong because I called him Gorgeous. But it's Kostas Karageorgis. Okay. And basically, he says that when the brain is listening to music, it lights up. It's the one thing. Music is the one thing that lights up the entire brain. All right. It lights it up because it reaches the parts of the brain that can't easily be reached. So when you're listening to music, you're activating such parts of your brain as the parietal lobe.
What?
Yes.
Wait a minute.
Yes. I'm out of Trenton now, baby. The parietal lobe, which contains the motor cortex.
I like pre-med stone.
The occipital, or the visual processing lobe.
Okay.
Right? Okay. That's the brain center for. That's the brain center for rhythm and coordination. It affects the temporal lobe, which regulates pitch, tone, and structure. And the frontal lobe and the cerebellum, which regulates emotion taking over. So look, y'all might have to rewind that, because I am not about to try to repeat those words. But music, absolutely. That's why athletes listen to music before games. Yeah, it helps focus. It actually helps motor coordination. Right. So music, because it affects all these parts of the brain. Yeah. And so when you guys are getting in there and you're just getting, hopefully this sees you start to see yourself a little bit more than just a beat maker as well. I mean, you are.
And I talk to a lot of guys who are beat makers. When they ask, they'll bring things up and it's like, yo, man, it feels like I'm kind of stuck in this rut. And a lot of it comes down to me saying some of the stuff that we're saying right now. And it's like, you're not actually, like, you're just making stuff, which is good, because getting started and making stuff is important. But you're not getting into the what part of what you're making, what part of this musical tone, what part of the key that I'm using, these chord changes, where am I moving to? How is my song tuned? Like all of that scientific stuff that people relate to, they aren't really paying attention to that. They're just trying to make something. And some people are just naturally gifted like that, because Stone likes to say that people are just naturally gifted and you just got that and you can just do it. And some people who got that, they just make stuff and they can just do that. Everybody.
Well, here's the thing. How about this? Instead of just saying it like that, because I see you doing that little soft little jab at me, which I'm gonna blow off. How about some people have a natural sensibility towards that?
No, yeah. Okay. And that's really what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But for those of us who don't, understanding the science behind it, knowing that these notes, these chord changes, these progressions, this key speaks to people more, learn how to work within those keys, learn what those keys mean, learn how they talk. If you go on Google right now, you can go. I want y'all to do this. I want you to Google effective musical key characteristics, like that specifically. Effective musical key characteristics. I used to use this all the time, and there's a bunch of different websites out there that's got a lot of different stuff on it. But what that is it has every musical key on it. And then it tells you what those keys represent, like the musical spirit that is embedded in each one of those keys, the characteristics, the soul of that key.
Well, can I give you a Google to go along with that?
Yeah.
It's called the 9 basic sound frequencies.
Absolutely.
9 basic. It wasn't sound frequencies, but anyway, if you do the 9 basic frequencies, it'll also bring up the same thing too. And it literally gives you, I think it's 123. It gives you each hertz and what each hertz attributes to in your body and in your brain.
Yeah.
So
you had this dope. No, what was that? Go ahead.
No, you first, please. After you. Oh no, after you.
No, please. No, that list that you came up with, the list that you came up with of the songs that were tuned to 432. The list was dope.
Yeah.
But the second you sent it, I was like, wait a minute, let me check something out. Like I looked at the list and I immediately went and I checked what key each one of those songs was in.
Yep.
And I was okay. So it was like, all right, this is the key that song was in. It's tuned to 432. And then I paid attention to actually what the content of the song was. And the dopeness of the thought process of I'm picking this key, I'm tuning it this way, and then it's about this content really is like that sub level that really that sub, like
Sade, Cherish the Day.
Perfect example.
That was tuned to 432.
Perfect example.
432. And how about Bob Marley? One Love.
Same one. It's
tuned to 432. And
now this is the cool thing about Sade's. I actually wrote this down because I was one of the ones I looked up. So Cherish the Day, if y'all don't know, like the original song is in C minor. Now, C minor isn't like a super, super common key, but most minor keys that are real easy can be. Declaration of love, and at the same time, the lament of unhappy love. That is what the attributes of that key is. Now, if you know what Cherish the Day is about, on a subconscious level, when you start thinking about, okay, this is the premise of this song. This is what she's saying in this song, and this is the key she chose for that song. And then it's tuned to that 5, that golden ratio of frequencies. Like it's the trifecta. I almost said this. But I mean, and again, Sade is just so amazingly giftedly talented. She may not have been thinking about it on every single.
I was just going to say, it would be crazy if they were doing that on purpose, but there's probably a good chance they weren't.
But that's the thing. Some people are just that in tune. Now, I would not be surprised if Sade, just being the type of human that she is just in tune with the universe like that, and it's just natural for her to do that, as Stone would say. Some people, it's easy to, like, if you do the research and you see that, okay, this is the type of song that she wrote to this key in this tuning, and you see the greatness and the magic that came out of that, that's a good starting point if you're having trouble when it comes to writing. I mean, start to study the science behind it, and your ideas will start to flow once you realize this is what
they're going to start to flow as well. I mean, there's a reason why everybody likes Bohemian Rhapsody.
Absolutely.
There is literally a scientific reason why everyone loves that song. And even if you look at the fact that there's something, if it's in the right frequency and stuff like that, you know, your brain actually, the music you can create can release dopamine. Like that's why everyone's joking around with this whole quarantine thing happening right now. Play the right songs. That dopamine gonna be flowing like water.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Then y'all baby's gonna be coming. Y'all gonna be like, what did I do? You know what I'm saying? But that's what it does. It can release dopamine. And the reason why you like to listen to music while you work out is because music delays what your body responds to. So therefore,
wait. What was that again?
When music delays the brain from registering to your body.
Okay.
So
pain from working out.
Right. So when you're working out, technically you should be tired already.
Mm-hmm.
But that music delays your brain from sending that signal to your body. That's why it seems like you have more endurance when you're working out, why you can feel like you work out more. It's music. That's why you thought it was just something to keep you focused. Well, it does keep you focused as well. Mm-hmm. But scientifically, music is literally doing that to you.
Yeah.
So when you go in that listen to the terms that we use, Johnny. Vibing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm in the lab.
Mm-hmm.
Like you really are creating something scientific. If you go in the studio with that mentality, with that on purpose mentality, think about it. If I were to, I don't want to say commit a crime, but if I were to do something excessive, even borderline violent, right? There's a good chance I'm not going in listening to Engelbert Humperdinck. And for those young ones who don't know who that is, first, that's a real person's name. Look it up, right? Yeah. You're not going to rob a bank listening to Engelbert Humperdinck.
Nah, you listen to Blue Cantrell, shoot 'em up style.
Or something. You're going to listen to something Anthony. That's why, and like with crunk music, there's a reason why when crunk came out and why trap even, like, do you ever feel like why y'all want to be gangsters feel like you all hard when you listening to trap and stuff or gang?
Because it's tuned to a certain frequency.
It's tuned to a certain frequency. That's
shout out to Crime Mob. If You Buck is going to be a forever classic because that song, or like if you go in and you break that song down, every aspect of that song is tuned to that part of your brain that it turns you up. That's
spoken like a true Southerner. For those of us from up top, it's Annie up, check that fool, Annie up, kidnap that fool, get him, man. That beat makes you.
That's number 3 on the list.
So how about this though? Listen to the power here. When you take a track at a certain frequency, and then the lyrics and the concept of your song matches what that frequency is putting out.
Mm-hmm.
You're sitting on top of a hit. Forget if it's registered on Billboard or not. It won't matter. Like my man L.I.F.E, independent artist, he got that song out there, Better. Like, I like me better when I'm with you. My homeboy Bobby Leroy covered that joint. But this dude, he has streamed, at this point, over 4, waited for it now, billion times with a B. He is completely independent. He now has distribution, but independent distribution through AWOL.
Mm-hmm.
But my point in saying is, you take a song that has the right frequency and put the right lyrics that match that frequency, you're sitting on a hit, even if you're charting or not. So when you guys go in that lab, man, just forget trying to sound like somebody else. And here's another step. How about this? When you go in the lab, pay attention to the mood that you're in, the vibe that you're in. Don't worry about trying to get into say, all right, I need to create something crazy. No.
How you feeling right now?
What are you in right now?
Yeah, how you feeling right now?
How you feeling right now? However you feeling right now, you're frustrated, you're anxious, you're scared, whatever it is. Create something that matches that frequency, and then let the lyrics flow. If you're a writer as well, let the lyrics flow to match that.
And use that effective musical key characteristics to help you figure out where you need to go with that.
This is borderline a formula, literal formula for hits.
It is. I want to touch on one thing too that I think is so super dope that a lot of geniuses do effortlessly. Is the juxtaposition of this. Because like right now, we've been just talking about doing it in harmony.
Yale words, juxtaposition.
Oh, okay.
All I thought was Teddy Ruxpin. That's the first thing that came to my mind. I'm not even lying with you. I know what juxtaposition means, but my brain thought Teddy Ruxpin.
Bro, I can't stay downstairs with you. We have to elevate. I have to bring you up. I got to bring you up here. I can't stay in the basement with you.
Elevate. Woo! Elevate. All right, go ahead.
No, but what I was saying, so if you don't know what it is, like juxtaposition is when you're taking 2 things or 3 things and it creates a contrast.
Right.
And one song that's super, super dope, like anybody, you may not be a Michael Jackson fan, but most people love Smooth Criminal.
But
Wait, say it again? Wait, what?
Not you. I'm saying if you're not a Michael Jackson fan, kill yourself.
I'm not. Listen, I know we're all quarantined, and some people are already on the edge.
You know what? You're right. I probably shouldn't say that
there.
at this time. I should not say that at this time.
Exactly.
Meditate and pray. Mm-hmm. Center yourself.
Ice cream man. Ice cream.
Stay alive.
Back to what I'm saying before I get away from it. Michael Jackson's got 2 songs that are super dope that are perfectly tuned to 432, and the keys that they're in, F sharp major or G flat major, for musicians who speak both languages. Billie Jean, which we all know what that song is about, and Smooth Criminal. Songs in the same key, they're tuned the same way, different songs. Now I'm going to tell you what G flat major says on that list that I was telling you about. The characteristics of that key is triumph over difficulty. It's a free sigh of relief of hurdles that are surmounted. So if you apply that to Billie Jean, Not My Son, imagine what that dude get hit with when this girl just show up and say, "Hey, this your baby." No, it ain't.
Right.
It ain't like you can hear that. But the juxtaposition comes when I point out Smooth Criminal. It's in the same key and it's tuned the same way as Billie Jean is, but Smooth Criminal is literally about murder.
Right.
Literally, like this girl at the side of the window with the blood stain on the carpet. Like if you listen to the lyrics of that song, it's very dark. But the key he showed. Say again.
Who's Eddie?
Who's Eddie?
Is it Eddie or Annie?
Annie.
Who's Annie?
Annie, are you okay? From Smooth Criminal?
Who's Annie?
Annie's the girl that died in Smooth Criminal, bro.
But who was Annie to Michael though?
Man, who is Shamo and Jujaboo? Nobody knows.
Questions. I got questions.
And we can't get them answered no more. Michael can't answer the questions.
I just want to know.
If you can get in touch with Q might be able to hook us up with some answers on some of that stuff. Quincy might have it.
I'll call him when we're done.
But that's the juxtaposition of it. Like Michael knew he's such a genius on such a deep level that he tuned his music, picked a key that your body was going to resonate for, and then he wrote murderous lyrics that we literally just sing mindfully. But if you sit down without the music and you just sing those lyrics, you're like, wait a minute, he just killed this girl like 3 times, and like that's and I'm not saying make your songs about murder and stuff, but that goes to show you like why trap music got to be so popular, because those songs are tuned a certain way. Even though a lot of the records are talking about violence, it's talking about drug use, all kind of stuff like that, it's tuned to resonate naturally with your body.
You know what song did that really, really well? They wrote it right after Columbine. And I didn't think of this before this podcast, so I didn't look it up, but it has something about taking the sneakers, or it's
taking the what now?
Sneakers, like the sneakers. It was written about. It was literally written about Columbine, how they were making fun, and it's the prettiest song to sing. To your point, like it's the most, and I'm gonna look it up, but it's the prettiest song to sing. But then you realize, like, oh snap, he's literally talking about mass shooting people.
Up kicks.
Thank you, Pumped Up Kicks.
Yeah,
all the other kids.
With pumped up kicks. And
better run, outrun my gun. And that literally was written about Columbine.
Yeah.
And it's the funnest song to sing. All the kids are running around saying, and you talking about mass murder.
Yeah.
But point to your thank you for remembering.
Exactly, and that's the thing. That's the power of juxtaposition. And I mean, that's an advanced writing technique, obviously. But I mean, once you start to understand the science of how frequencies, how keys, how all of this stuff is interconnected, your wordplay inside those, like if you create this happy environment, this positive vibration, this shell that's going to just be, edifying somebody's, just their level of vibration in their spirit, you can say whatever you want lyrically as long as it's got a catchy melody to it. That's
right. This is so in other words, you also could be responsible for some sociopaths and psychopaths out there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Real talk like that. So if we're not getting anything else across to you in this podcast, is the power that you wield in your pen and on your MP or your FL Studio or your Logic, the power that you hold is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Man, I loved it, man. You got anything else you want to close out with?
No, man, that's it.
This is this. So you guys need to listen to this 2 or 3 times. I don't say that much, and and I don't really like it.
Yes, you do.
Seriously.
You said a lot.
No. a lot.
But it's okay though, because for some of this thing, it's important to go back and just let it soak in, because
we said a lot of stuff, especially when we cover a lot of stuff. So that's
Stone not paying attention to turning your phone off while we do it. Like, what's up with that, man?
Hey, you know what? We're quarantined right now. The rules are just
rules out the window. Rules out the window.
So seriously though, real talk. Y'all already know, before popularity, your edification comes first for us with these podcasts. So if we do say share it with a friend or listen to it again, we're not saying it just so we could be mad popular. If it happens, that's a freaking byproduct. We're doing it so that you can get it. Or if you know someone that, you know what's the name, really needs to hear this, then you share it with your friend. We know we covered a lot. So we encourage you guys.
In this particular one, based off of what Stone just said, I will say this. Treat this one like the airplane mask. Like, put your mask on before you go help somebody else. Because if you're producing, like if you're making music, anything that's vibratory, that's a Johnny word right there, Stone. Put that in the JUCO category for the day. Let this soak in for you first. Like, really study these attributes. Go look at what vibes and what frequencies are doing, and then take it one step further past music. Colors vibrate at frequencies too. So if you're trying to create that mood, that vibe, and you know where you're trying to go, find out what colors vibrate in that spectrum of the sound that you're looking for. And all of that stuff, when you start to get into it, just like I was talking about young ladies who start to match when they're by each other, when you put yourself in that environment, your vibrations start to match the vibrations that are in that area, which goes to what Stone always says: be mindful of what you put into your mouth, or what you say out your mouth, what you put into your ears, and what you see. Like, that's all about vibrations. It's all about matching what's in your surroundings. All of that.
Straight up, man. So I can't break it down or close it out any better than that. So look, man, we hope y'all enjoyed it. Listen to it again, study it, and shoot, I expect to hear some freaking hits, bro, out of this thing. I don't really see how you can't create one after this. So you're welcome. You're welcome.
We want points. We want points, though. We want A.
That's right. I want credits. I want points. Shoot me a little quick 5%. You know what I'm saying? Show some love.
Yo, make sure y'all hit us up. If you got some questions about some of the stuff, or you want to get some of the links to some of the stuff that we detailed on it, hit us up. lifeonpodcast@gmail.com. Make sure you're following the podcast. We are at Life on Podcast on IG. Of course, it's at Life on Podcast _ on the Twitter.
That's right. And you can follow Johnny at
Just Johnny Vaughn, JUSTJONYVAN, all over the place.
And then you can follow your boy, but don't follow me because I may not lead. Just walk beside me and be my friend. Stone 007. That's Stone letter O, letter 07. DM us, ask us questions. Again, that email, lifeonpodcast@gmail.com. Several guys asked for that split sheet. I sent it to you. So if you hit us, we're going to hit you back. Look, y'all stay safe out there. Take the social distancing seriously. All right? It's not a joke. You want this thing to be over? Do your part.
Right.
Keep the distance. It'll be over in a heart. We're praying for you. Love y'all. We out.
Peace.